and a new kind of journalist descend on, here it is, amateur detectives and a new kind of journalist descend on Nancy Guthrie case. And he uses this clip.
A truck to go to another scene. A wrinkle in this, not just all the media coverage, but there are live streamers and true crime buffs who are out doing their own investigations, reporting sort of a fire hose of information, whether it's verified or not. And we've talked to people who are fans of JLR Investigates and people who are bringing him food and someone who bought him a chair. But this crime has brought out a new breed of journalist, and that's what we're looking at today.
Okay, so it says true crime reporter Jonathan Lee Riches, who operates under the moniker JLR Investigates, was outside Nancy's house on February 16th, live streaming when he heard a car was being towed from the house that law enforcement had swarmed days earlier. While Riches told more than 45,000 people watching his stream, thank you, Bella, for becoming a member. 45,000 people watching his stream that after a week it was time to pack up and leave. No other media members camped outside opted to join him. Their presence signals a relatively new type of journalist covering the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie, live streamers and true crime aficionados. The streamers stand with their phones shoulder high, narrating sometimes fact-starved and conspiratorial thoughts about the disappearance of Guthrie, who was reported missing February 1st. When a friend was concerned, she did not show up for church. Others post online about the case or host live shows about it. At least one, Josh Ritter of Courtroom Confidential, has traveled to Arizona to host a nightly show online about the case. Ashley Banfield, the host of a podcast called Drop Dead Serious, has floated an unproven theory that a relative of Guthrie was involved. Riches also mentions the names of extended family members, suggesting possible involvement. No, he didn't. On February 16th, Pima County Sheriff Chris Nanos seemed to hit back at online speculation, releasing a statement affirming that the Guthrie family, including spouses, had been cleared of involvement in the alleged abduction. The family are victims in this case. To otherwise suggest is not only wrong, it's cruel, said Nanos. Online speculation has continued to ferment as the investigation drags into its third week. Investigators don't know where Guthrie is, nor who took her or why. That there seem to be more questions than answers has provided fertile ground for amateur detectives sitting behind keyboards, talking about me, and in front of their cameras to step in and to chase down cars being towed. We need to get Megan on this guy. By the time Riches got to the neighborhood where the car was being towed, it was gone. But one of Rich's followers later would send him photos of the car being towed. Undaunted, Riches went on to the home of Annie Guthrie. There, he walked along a desert wash and told his viewers he had seen a coyote. Things are happening, folks, he said. Things are happening. See how they're taking everything out of context? JLR Investigates has been the most persistent of the handful of live streamers at the Guthrie case. He and others have a direct connection to their audience, sometimes responding to questions in real time. Look at this. And sometimes asking for money to keep the program going. He has never asked for money. As a matter of fact, he said, don't send me money for flowers. Don't send me money for dog food. Has he not? On February 10th, reports surfaced that law enforcement had made a traffic stop. Look, he's showing Mount Lemon. Traffic stop of a man in Rio Rico, a community about an hour south of Tucson. A program that tracks flights showed a helicopter from the Tucson airport landing in Rio Rico, then landing at the hospital. The Arizona Republic, part of the USA Today network, and other media outlets sent journalists to the hospital to see if the activity was connected to the Guthrie case. But the hospital parking lot did not have law enforcement in it, as it likely would have had if the helicopter was related to the rescue. It was a good tip, but not one that panned out. The Republic never reported on the medical helicopter flight. Riches, on the other hand, felt the news was fit for print, or stream for that matter. From the hospital parking lot, a Republic reporter saw him talking and holding his phone in front of his face, broadcasting the news about the hospital to his viewers. For Crystal Rogers, a true crime buff, the unfiltered nature of his streams is its prime attraction. You're kind of right there in the midst, she said, after meeting Riches outside the Guthrie house and giving him a candy bar to keep him fueled. Not everything that pops up is fact, but you just have to know that. Rogers, 44, was watching the night Riches reported from the hospital about the helicopter. Even though it was not connected to the Guthrie case, she said she was glad he took her along his reporting journey. Before visiting the Guthrie home on February 16th, Rogers swung by the neighborhood where police had swarmed over the weekend. She saw the car being towed and told Riches, getting him mobilized to the scene. Sounds like he's really jealous that he's got, like, the scoop, that people are hitting him up. A Fox News digital reporter posted online that the car had been in a wreck, and it was towed at the request of an insurance company. It was not related to the Guthrie case. Katie Warfield, who uses the moniker Behind Green Eyes, talked to the Republic after pausing her own live stream. She mainly works at night, after her day job building custom furniture, and she said she had become personally invested in the outcome of the case. Warfield traveled to Rio Rico when law enforcement detained a person for a few hours. That lead, shared by law enforcement with the media, ended with the man's release. It's been heartbreaking, she said. I hope there's a break in the case. News reporters and camera crews started lining the street. I guess we know what this guy's doing while he sits here all day, writing this fucking hit piece. News reporters and camera crews started lining the street outside of Nancy's home after her February 1st disappearance. The neighborhood has no sidewalks or streetlights, and the narrow asphalt road provides just enough room for passing traffic to get past the pileup of parked cars. In the first week, major television networks, local affiliates, and magazines camped out. Drones buzzed overhead, and journalists formed their own air traffic control network to prevent collisions. The presence only grew as the days ticked on, and streamers arrived, with Riches being a near constant stream of the Guthrie home. So in other words, everything was all fine and dandy until that damn Jonathan Lee Riches showed up. On one occasion, a pizza was delivered to the house. It was apparently meant for Riches and sent by a fan. That prompted a sheriff's department advisory asking media not to have food sent to the crime scene, saying such actions, quote, interfere with an active investigation. At times, law enforcement and investigators have also taken active steps to hide their movements and operations. On February 12th, authorities erected a pop-up tent over a portion of Guthrie's front patio. Republic reporters observed sheriff's vehicles block intersections and armored SWAT trucks enter nearby. Hours later, in a Culver's parking lot, authorities held a sheet to shield their work while examining a gray Range Rover. But he doesn't say anything about Enton being in the perimeter of said SWAT. The coverage of Guthrie's disappearance has prompted some elected officials to speak out. Here we have Alma. State Representative Alma Hernandez, a Tucson Democrat, criticized what she called misinformation and speculation from some self-described journalists and live streamers. I can't believe I have to say this, but you're not law enforcement. Go home. Her remarks drew a response from national conservative commentator Joe Posebek, who amplified the exchange to his more than 3 million followers. We will not stop reporting. Oh, this guy was a key figure in disseminating the so-called Pizzagate conspiracy. Oh, here he is. Kevin Posobiec. Real America's Voice. I didn't know that was real news, but okay. This is from a guy from the Republic, I guess. His name is... Let me go back up. This is a long one, too. He's been sitting there writing that all week. Richard Roules. This guy. Richard Roules. He's an Arizona native who works for the Arizona Republic since 1994. He's covered all manner of stories over the years. Besides his investigative role, he also keeps tabs on the Arizona wine industry. He has co-authored 2 books about the legendary Phoenix children's program, The Wallace and Lambdo Show. This is his recent work. True crime buffs descend. Streamers speculation pervades Nancy Guthrie coverage. He's got JLR there too. Ice runs plates, and then somebody dying. Stick to wine country, Richard. Okay, let's go back and finish this. Maybe he can bring a case of wine to the scene. Sounds like everybody needs a glass of wine over there. Okay, let's see. Where were we? Oh, there's a better look at that windshield, too. Look at the circle. What is that? What is that circle from? He's the one that tried to interview JLR, yes. Mm-hmm. Sure was. During one lull in the story on February 16th, Riches spent time speculating. God, this guy's like stalking JLR. He spent time speculating about a business card that had been seen that was left on Nancy Guthrie's front door. The card was from a case manager for Arizona's Adult Protective Services. Richards speculated there might have been an open case of elder abuse. There was not. A Republic reporter saw the card on February 3rd while taking photographs. A reporter called the number listed. An agent said the card was left after Nancy's disappearance, not before. Okay, that doesn't mean there was no case. It was left so Nancy, an older adult who lived alone, could contact the agency if she needed services once she returned home safely. The Republic did not report on the card at the time. Well, that's your fault. That's your damn fault for not reporting on it, loser. If you could explain it, why didn't you explain the shit? God. But they just come there 3 days later after the homicide team has been brought in and leave a card just in case from an advanced investigator? I don't buy it. I don't buy it. Riches, approached by the Republic while walking near the home of Annie, said he didn't want to be interviewed, but he did respond to questions, all the while live streaming. He said people were hooked on the case because of the mystery, and that he was forced into speculating because officials were not providing a steady stream of facts. Quote, a lack of information leads to speculation. It's true. Riches said, a self-described journalist. Riches has a legal history of his own. Here we go. Dun, dun, dun. This is where the whole point of doing this was to smear JLR. Here we go. In 2016, Riches faced a felony conviction for filing a phony lawsuit against U.S. Rep. Gabrielle Giffords, who was nearly assassinated in 2011 outside a grocery store in the same Catalina Foothills neighborhood where Nancy Guthrie's house stands. They want to turn the public there, the locals, against him by bringing this Giffords lady into it. You know what I would, if I was JLR, you know what I'd tell this motherfucker? Buy the book. You want to know what happened? Buy the book. In March 2016, according to a criminal complaint, he filed a civil action against Gifford, posing as Jared Loeffner, the gunman who tried to kill her. The complaint sought $25 million. Riches pleaded guilty to a charge of making false statements in September 2018, according to court records, and was sentenced to 5 years probation. He told the Republic that he filed the lawsuit while he was serving federal prison time for a wire fraud conviction. He said he filed that fake lawsuit along with other inmates as a joke that helped pass the time. The lawsuit against Giffords, he said, was in bad taste. Riches walked to his vehicle parked outside Annie's house, headed back to where other media were congregating outside Nancy's house. On his live stream, he talked about the pending story that would be published in the Arizona... On his live stream, he talked about the pending story that would be published by the Arizona Republic and azcentral.com and wondered if it would be a hit piece. Riches said that the story might say, quote, these true crimers are causing a lot of havoc. And boy, was he right. Boy, was he right. The dude's clearly trying to turn the locals, and he's working with Alma to do it. He's working with Alma and stalking JLR. What the fuck? T-Moss, obviously it wasn't serious, right? Mental illness is real. People change. People do things that help them change. But this, bringing up this Giffords lady, is clearly to make the public there, the local public go, oh my God. Oh my God, I didn't know that. And did you see how fucking fake nice that guy was? He come up all nice. Don't trust it, folks. Don't trust it. He didn't say a word about Enton being in that fucking perimeter of that SWAT. Not one word. Not one word, Richard Rulis. Inciting hate. Inciting hate. He is. He should be more worried about who took Nancy. He should be more worried about who took Nancy than what JLR is doing. He's clearly stalking him. Weird. Weird. I will get this to Megyn Kelly, actually. Hold on one second. I have a way I can try. Okay. Hopefully she'll get it and she can unleash on him. All right, guys. So overnight, let's go over our things that we had happen overnight. I was on the other channel with the scanner. Nothing happened. Nothing happened. But there are a couple things that I wanted to show you. And R.I.P. Jesse Jackson. Jesse Jackson passed away. What's this?
Habit.
Oh, this is
over the weekend.
Here's a 2-minute clip.
Interesting about what happened Friday evening and Saturday morning is not just what we know, but also the number of false reports that came out over that time span. All of that speaks to an interesting and somewhat dystopian dynamic on the ground here, Jackie, and that is that there are hundreds, if not thousands, of members of the local, national, and international media here, but there are also hundreds of influencers. And in these moments of developments in this story, they will go live to their hundreds, if not thousands, if not tens of thousands of viewers, and I will overhear them just say things that are not based in fact, things that are not based in reality or have been checked with the local authorities. See how some of these comments that are made without regard to the fact that a woman's life potentially hangs in the balance here, how those little comments snowball into this misinformation and disinformation.
Oh my God. Of all networks to be lecturing us on mis and disinformation. Why don't you talk to your big boss, Rachel Maddow, and all the rest of the primetime lineup about Russia, Russia, Russia? You want to talk about falling down on the job? As he's speaking in the lower third